Page 48, Scarborough Fair, a very famous old melody. In this lesson, they cover a little bit about changing fingers on repeated notes. I've already talked about it. So look it over. It's 4 lines long. Clef signs are treble and bass clef still. This is 1 sharp in the key signature. Now we're back in the key of G major. No, we're not. All right, fine. Let's talk a little bit about keys. You're just going to love it. Sit back and relax a little bit. We have what's called major and minor keys. I mean, overall on scales, there's only about 1,500 or so different scales. You don't need to know all of them. We're only going to use a small portion of them. We use what's known as the major and minor scales because there's other scales. You got jazz scales and blues scales and whole tone scales and blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're going to use major and minor scales. I've been telling you to go to scale video and do the G major scale or the F major or the C major. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I just said, go do the G scale. If there's nothing said, major is implied. That's just the way music works. And that's for other things besides scales. We'll get to that later. So if I just say, do the G scale, that means the G major scale. However, this piece is not in a major scale. This piece is in a minor scale. So if they're going to do that, we better start doing the minor scales too. Now, when I do the scales, when I'm practicing them, I do them by key signature. And for each key signature, there is 1 major and 1 minor scale to go with it. So you're just getting accustomed to playing in that key. You just know which black notes are involved. So here you need to go to get the E minor scale because the E minor has 1 sharp. So you're going to do the G major scale because that has 1 sharp. And now you're also going to do the E minor scale because that has 1 sharp. Just 1 octave up and down. Just learn the scales. When we have the major and minor scale with the same key signature, we say they're related. They're related by key signature. They're relative to each other. So E minor is the relative minor to G major because they both have 1 sharp. Or I could say G major is the relative major to E minor. I could go either way. But if I go G minor, G major and G minor, those aren't relative. They're what we call parallel. We'll get to that later. The key signatures are different. Let's stick with just the same key signature here. So G major, you go do that scale. Not that fast. I've been doing this forever. And the E minor scale. Do it as I say in the video, because in the minor scales that we cover what's known as the harmonic minor, because there's 3 different kinds of minor scales. You just got to love it. It just gets deeper and deeper, doesn't it? Just don't worry about it. Just do the scale that I have in the video. But you're going to find an E minor, the note right below the main note, so E minor, the note right below it, the D, we take that up a half step. So in the E minor, we're going to play D sharps. The sharp sign for the D sharps is not in the key signature. That would be in the piece itself. But that you just do it. Here. Because the natural minor would be as it is. It's according to the key signature. But I've found that if you can do the harmonic minors, you've got it covered. Don't worry about it. Now you can get other accidentals in the piece besides. But what we're talking about is the key signature. So do the G major scale 1 octave and the E minor scale 1 octave. And it's in 3/4 time. Now technically I don't think this piece is really in E minor. I think it's in another mode. I'm not an expert on the modes. There's different modes. But for our purposes, we're going to pretend it's in E minor. And 3/4 time signature. So let's take it 1 hand at a time. Make sure we know what the hands are doing. The right hand, you're starting here. That puts the hand position here. Remember the F sharps in the key signature. So 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. I trust you know the names of the notes in the music by now. And that you can do these rhythms, these dotted rhythms. So, okay, everything's fine. If not, you're going too fast. Go back, go through it all again, review everything again, make sure you're comfortable with it. because it's just going to get worse. And the second line, you get 1 beat rest to come up here, second finger. 1, 2. C sharp, well, since third finger's on C, I'm going to use it on C sharp. 2. Third line, you have 2 B's. Right, well, they're repeated notes. We've been through this before. I need to change hand position, so I'm going to do it on the repeated notes. It's 2, 3. And then crossover. And here, you can relax, because we actually changed hand positions. We're here now, back to where we were. And then at the end, you cross over for 1 note, because we've done that before too. Because we got 6 notes to cover with 5 fingers, and that's how we do it. Left hand, well, it starts out with third finger here, so that puts you here. Don't forget the F sharp now. 1, 2, 3, 1. Oh, this is exciting. 1, 2, 3. Left hand, second line. 1, 2, 3. Now they want fourth finger. It's a repeated note. We got to get ready for that half note A. We're out of position. I could stay there and reach up second finger. There's nothing wrong with that, but we need practice at changing on repeated notes. So we'll just do that. 4. And then the third line, come back down. You have a rest, come back down where you were. Okay. Put the hands together. And we're here. Then here. And then here. Second line. Here. Just work this out carefully. So I'm working it out very slowly and carefully. Don't care if I hesitate. I'm just trying to get the working together thing. All right. Then I can go back over to whatever and slowly work out the hesitations. Once I can do all that, then I think about the articulation, and this is pretty connected. You can lift up between the phrases here. Sometimes you get a rest, you have to. The left hand, you connect it, unless you have to rest or whatever. And here. I have to lift up the right hand for the rest. I'm going to move. I'm going to connect the left hand. The second line, both hands come up for the phrase because you get a rest in the left hand. Yeah, so put in the phrasing, but connect the left hand as best you can. Then we think about the dynamics. Dynamics apply to the melody. In this arrangement of this piece, it's in the right hand. It's here. Mezzo piano is sort of soft, moderately soft. Left hand needs to be very soft. And then second line, this is very soft. Now, moderately loud. Mezzo forte. Keep the left hand in the background. Then the second line, go back down. Moderately soft. And the last line, now you're soft. The left hand's very soft again. But at the end, I want to hear that note. This should be way in the background. And I'm not going to play this note louder because I want to hear it. I'm going to play it where it needs to be. And this is very light. Learn to really, when you're doing the scales, you can be practicing these louds and softs with the scale. How soft can you play a scale? Don't use the soft pedal. No, we got to do all this with the hands and the fingers. It's good practice. That way when you get these things in the pieces, you can already do it because you've been practicing it with the scales. As far as the speed goes, they don't give one. It's just about where I've been going, I think. If you feel a retardando at the end as part of interpreting it, put it in. Yeah, it lets people know it's about over. If you really like the piece, you can always just repeat it. There's no repeat sign, but still, if you like the piece, repeat it. Play it twice. Remember the natural accents. 1, 2, 3, 1. Feel these. Feel these natural accents all the way through. Once you can play it, at least slowly with no hesitations, let's play it together and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics, so the louds and softs. I'll do the phrasing and do the articulation, just not louds and softs. I'll give us 3 counts. You should be playing the same note I'm playing when I play it. And this is after you learn it. Don't try and learn it in the play with me section. Learn it first and then check it in the play with me section. 1, ready, go. 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 2, 3. 2. 2. 2, 3.